Sports lovers, welcome to Med Sports TV. I'm Med, and in today's episode of Boxing Update, I'm going to talk about Conor Benn and his failed drug test. That's going to be the first portion. The second portion is he being reinstated by the WBC. Then, third, he wanting to sue the British Boxing Board of Control. And the fourth is me giving my verdict and my way forward for Conor Benn. So please stay with me throughout this video in order to get my perspective. But before I start from the first point, please do me a favor by subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon beside the subscribe. Also, comment your views in the box below and also like and share on all other social media platforms. Thank you. Conor Benn failed 2 drug tests last year. The first one was somewhere in July, and the second one was about 12 or 2 weeks before he faced Chris Eubank Jr. Let me focus more on the second drug test. The second drug test was a voluntary sanction because he has signed to fight Chris Eubank Jr. at a catch weight of 157. So, since that catch weight is not under the WBC unless they give special authorization, which they did not have to give this time, it was solely under the jurisdiction of the governing body, which is the Boxing Board of Control. There is a difference between a governing body and a sanctioning body. The sanctioning body often have the world titles, whilst the governing body has jurisdiction on the location on which the fight happens. Let me simply put. So, if you are fighting in New York, the New York the New York Athletic Commission will give you the right to fight in New York. Then the sanctioning body, the WBC, the WBO, would give you the opportunity to fight for a world title. So, without a governing body, a sanctioning body cannot function because the location or the place at which the fight is happening, the authorities must give the green light for the fight to happen. So that is the difference. So immediately Conor failed the drug test, his lawyers sent the British Board of Control letter. Eddie Hearn said that something that he legally could not have stopped the fight. I think what Eddie Hearn did not say in clear language was that there was a legal process going on, so he, as the promoter, cannot stop the fight. That was what Eddie Hearn should have said or stated to the public, that because Conor Benn and his lawyers has written to the British Board of Control, he, Eddie Hearn, no longer had the legal rights until that process was exhausted to stop the fight, and that authority was solely on the back of the British Boxing Board of Control. Now, the late stoppage of the fight or the late sanctioning of the fight is what has caused a lot of stir. People are saying if the fight wasn't, if the failed drug test wasn't leaked in the media, the British Boxing Board of Control wouldn't have stopped the fight. Now, the British Boxing Board of Control could have stated or made a categorical or a public statement that a fighter has failed a drug test, but there are legal processes going on awaiting for him to be sanctioned, just like the City of Manchester Police did in the case of Mason Greenwood. They never mentioned Mason Greenwood's name, but we all knew that they were talking about Mason Greenwood, and finally the case was later, based on new evidence, withdrawn. And now we can trust the process that Mason Greenwood submitted himself to the legal process and he has come out clean. So this is the difference between Conor Benn and Mason Greenwood. He does not want to submit himself to the legal process because immediately the fight wasn't sanctioned, he withdrew his license, relinquished his license, meaning the British Boxing Board of Control cannot interrogate or investigate someone who is not their member. And the body who is supposed to do the investigation, the experts, are UCAD. UCAD, that is the United Kingdom Anti-Doping Agency. They test footballers, they test cricket players, they test rugby players. So they are the people that Conor Benn is supposed to go and prove his innocence to. If he's able to prove his innocence to UCAD, then automatically he would get the green light to continue to fight in the United Kingdom. As at now, he is no longer a licensee of the governing body. So there is no way the governing body can investigate him. But fast forward, Conor Benn and his team sent a 270-page dossier document to the WBC, who were the supervisors of the clean boxing program, in which he initially failed somewhere June, July last year. Then, upon scrutinizing those documents, the WBC stated that there has not been any wrongdoing from VADA. There has not been any contamination process from VADA. Then Conor Benn and his team came up with the egg that contained clomiphene. Now, talking about clomiphene boosts your testosterone. And clomiphene in eggs is illegal in the United Kingdom. So let me ask, did the WBC follow up stating, since you said it's clomiphene, where do you get your eggs? Which farms do you get it from? What are their sources? So that all those inventories would be followed up with the farm and cross-check that truly Conor Benn is their customer and they use clomiphene in feeding their chickens in order for them to lay more eggs. That is what the WBC should have done. But the WBC did not do any of that. Since they stated eggs, they knew that the eggs is plausible. So since it's possible, then they stated that it was inconclusive. That was just looking at the document or on the surface without proper scrutinizing. Yes, that was what the WBC did. They did not scrutinize the document, follow up to do checkups on farms in which Conor Benn said he bought his eggs, or the stores, because the use of clomiphene is illegal in the United Kingdom. So how come you have clomiphene in your system and stating it's from eggs? Is it chicken eggs or turkey eggs? We don't know. So the WBC, for the sake of clarity, should have gone through all these checks, sent people to the farm or written legal letters to the farm and used that as evidence, or have made people swore an affidavit to effect. So if it turns out that you are lying, you can be taken on legally. That is what Conor Benn should do. Now, back to the fact that he wants to sue the British Boxing Board of Control. I think it's a whole bad idea for him to try to sue the British Boxing Board of Control for £3.5 million. Apparently, that is the estimated pairs he would get and public damages. If Conor Benn sues the British Boxing Board of Control, there would be cross-examination, there would be documents, because the British Boxing Board of Control would also show resistance. They would, and if those documents are put in the public domain, is he very sure that they would be in his favor? Because there would be cross-examination, there would be checkups, and if this matter enters the legal system of the United Kingdom, then wherever he got his egg from, those people could be in trouble. Were the eggs smuggled in legally to the country? Were the eggs legally obtained from the farms? And in the process, how come you are using an illegal substance to feed your chicken? All those processes would come under the court. And is Conor Benn really ready to go through cross-examination and be truthful in all these situations? I don't know the answer. But if Conor Benn tries the legal process, I think a lot of things would be at stake from him, because the lawyers of the British Boxing Board of Control would also dig into him and, and come up with theories that he possibly cheated. And that would not be good for his entire career. Conor Benn should come out clean. I've heard people say that he should go to the court of arbitration for sports. There has not been any verdict pronounced on him for him to feel unfairly treated. There has not been any official letter written to Conor Benn that you are guilty based on article this of our regulation ABCD. You violated. No, there has not, that process has not happened. So Conor Benn cannot go to the court of arbitration for sports in order to seek justice. We haven't gotten to that point yet, because he first must submit himself to the British Board of Control. If he comes out guilty or innocent, then he proceeds to the next level. But that process in which he has relinquished his title and his license, and he is no longer a licensee of the title of the association, you don't expect the Doctors Association to investigate a non-member. If someone is not a member of your association, why do you spend association time and money in order to investigate that person? So Conor Benn should be very careful and be ready to fight this to the last letter if he truly believes he's innocent. And I think if he is truly innocent and he found out that it was his eggs that were contaminated, then it is just a matter of he buying the same eggs, showing receipts of the same eggs, taking it to the British Boxing Board of Control, or UCAD I should say. Then they are tested. Those clomiphene traces are found in the eggs at the same level as the one found in Conor Benn. Then Conor Benn can truly be proven innocent. But as at now, a lot of people believe that Conor Benn is just using tactical means in order to avoid the cause of justice. Rob Fowler has said that. Then this guy Michael Corland has also said that a lot of boxing pundits and boxers are coming at him. A lot of people don't believe it. Even when he was pronounced innocent, he wasn't really pronounced innocent by the WBC. They stated that their investigation was inconclusive. I think science should be conclusive enough from two tests. And with B samples, that making it 4 individual tests. I'm not a scientist and don't know much of science, but with 4 containers, I think there should be enough conclusion on what Conor Benn did. Besides, VADA does not do investigation unlike UCAD. So UCAD has the power to do this investigation, and Conor Benn should gently submit. If he had submitted himself to the process and he was truly innocent, by this time he would have fought Chris Eubank Jr. because the fight would have been rescheduled. Then Chris Eubank Jr. wouldn't have ended up losing to Liam Smith, jeopardizing their fight and his career highest payday. That is what I think Conor Benn should do. He should submit himself to the process. Especially, I'm not saying that the system is always right. Sometimes the system can come against you. But when the system comes against you, that same system or law gives you a way of defending yourself. When you submit yourself to the process, you can also bring in your individual experts to cross-check, to sit in throughout the process and have you checked and come out with flying colors. My verdict: he who seeks justice must come with clean hands. Conor Benn does not look like he wants to come with clean hands, yet he wants people to give him his flowers for the WBC investigation. As boxing fans, we don't trust the WBC investigation. Yes, because the WBC is interested in the sanctioning fee of Conor Benn, whilst UCAD, who would investigate Conor Benn is not interested in the sanctioning fee of Conor Benn. They are interested in keeping boxing clean. That is their primary goal. Or sports clean in the United Kingdom. So submit yourself to the process. If you submit yourself to the process and you come out clean, your stocks would even go higher. Your stocks would even go higher. So, Conor Benn, submit yourself to the process. Come out innocent as you seem, and let everyone rally behind you. Because when you seem to be doing something fishy, a lot of people will notice that there's something unreal about this guy, and no matter how you try to prove to them, they wouldn't believe you. Yes, you don't always have to listen to public opinion, but boxing is a commerce business. Your value on the market makes you generate a lot of money. Conor Benn should not bear in mind that people would forget in 3 days' time if he had failed the drug test. It would always be brought up in press conferences, just like Caleb Plant brought it up against Canelo, just like Gennady Golovkin brought it up against Saul Canelo. The likes of Sugar Shane Mosley have failed drug tests. Iron Mike Tyson. Some of the greats have failed drug tests. Yes, it may be your first time. You may get a lighter sentence if it was not knowingly ingested. Besides that, there is a system called strict liability. Strict liability means that you are responsible for what is in your body. Conor Benn and his team must prove to the UCAD how come this strict liability must be losing for them, because they unknowingly took an illegal substance, and they shouldn't get a maximum of 2 years or 4 years ban, but they should get 6 months for this for the clomiphene to clear off his system and be reinstated. All these are possible solutions. Because the law says you should get a 4 years ban does not mean if you unknowingly do it too, you should get a 4 years ban. No. Conor Benn, my verdict is that submit yourself to the process and come with clean hands. He who comes with equity must come with clean hands. So come with clean hands. Let the process take place. If you have any challenges with the process, you go to court to appeal it. Because if you try to sue the British Boxing Board of Control, I think things will get murkier. What about if an injunction is also placed on your career? People would not like to work with you. You were in talks with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao and his team have stated that until there is a proper verdict from the British Boxing Board of Control, that fight talk wouldn't continue, because they wouldn't want to associate themselves with someone who has been a proven drug cheat. So prove your innocence by getting back your license and submitting yourself to UCAD for them to investigate you thoroughly, and all boxing fans across the globe reasonably, the reasonable ones. I know there are some fanatics who would still think you are guilty, would believe you, because as it stands now, it means you were eating over 30 or 28 eggs per day. Come on, Kenna. There is more questions to be asked when you talk. So keep quiet, submit yourself to the process, and come out in one piece. Thank you for watching. Stay positive. Remember, there is no limit to greatness. Au revoir.